All right, thanks a lot, Dr. Jim, and we will check back in with you a little bit later. Now, one of the big stories in Houston this week has been the exoneration, the dropping of charges against rappers Paul Wall and Baby Bash, and both are here with us. Now, you guys were arrested back in December. Prosecutors charged you with organized crime, and so it went before a grand jury this week. The grand jury decided not to charge you guys, to throw the case out. Also with us is their attorney, or at least Baby Bash's attorney, Carl Moore. Let's start with Carl first. Carl, what made the difference in this case when it came to the grand jury saying we're not going to move forward with criminal charges?
I think the facts that were presented in the grand jury packet influenced the grand jurors to realize that this was not a case that they should move forward to trial with.
Now, the packet, the grand jury packet, that is something that you provided to the grand jury so they can look at the facts of the case and decide from there on whether we should move forward.
Yes. We basically broke the law down as it relates to engaging in organized crime. We put the facts in the packet, made it simple for the grand jurors to understand how to apply the law and the facts together so they could make the right decision, which was to no-bill the case.
First of all, Paul Wall, when you heard you were charged with organized crime, what were your thoughts on that?
Man, when the police officer first, he went from telling us, y'all might go ahead and get let off and go home. We were in handcuffs before they took us in. He was like, yeah, I'm waiting for the district attorney to get back to us. Y'all might could just go home. They got a new diversion program. This is before it went into effect, but back then they were just talking about it. We were thinking we might get released and let off and go home, but then he came out of nowhere and said, no, we're going to charge y'all with engaging in organized crime. I laughed. I thought it was a joke. And I told him, I said, you mean like John Gotti? I told him, I said, man, y'all were trying real hard to give me some rap stripes, because I don't know about being engaged in organized crime. I mean, that's just something that's serious that, coming from where I came from, I have other friends who, went through things similar, but this is not nothing that I think would ever have came over my head or Baby Bash, because anyone who knows us knows that that's not what we're about.
Let's bring Bash in. How has this made your life difficult? People think if a rapper is arrested, that only bolsters your reputation in the community. But there's a different side to that, especially when you're a responsible adult with a family.
Yeah, I'm not really that type of rapper. I remember when they said organized crime, I looked at Paul like, is he serious? I couldn't believe it, first of all. And I think when it hit the news, I didn't realize how big it was. And when it hit the news, it said drug charges and all this other stuff. And people started thinking, oh, this guy must be on drugs or selling drugs, which I'm not selling drugs. I make way too much money to even think about doing that. But I lost like 3 shows, $7,500 a show. 3 shows canceled on me, first of all. So that's like 20-something thousand off top. Taking my kids to school felt awkward. Like parents were looking at me, oh, I seen them on the news. And just the word drug kept flashing in my head like that's what they think, not really knowing the whole story. The people don't really know the whole story, so they associate that with me. So it kind of was an awkward feeling. I love being a father, and I take pride in being a father, so it kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. So, but I'm glad the truth came out. When it first hit me, I was thinking like, are they gonna do me like how they did SPM? Like it was no evidence, no nothing, but are they still gonna try to throw me in there for something? And I kept thinking like, I know I didn't do nothing wrong, but it still shook me for a little bit. Shook me means a little bit nervous. But
And Paul Wall, tell us when you heard the news that the grand jury decided not to indict you guys.
Oh man, it was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. That's the best sleep I had that night. I think I had at least since Christmas. But
since Christmas.
even then I was waiting for the catch. What's the catch? I thought, I'm thinking that they said that, but it might be some type of catch, but it wasn't. Man, thank God that it's all over now. We can move on with our lives. It's sad. My kids, they got bullied at school behind this. My wife as well, and there's so many people, even such as yourself, who, we're friends. So you put your reputation on the line for being our friend when something like this comes up. So, there's so many people, their reputations have been dragged through the mud just for being associated with us. And I hope that we can just move on and just go back to doing what we do with our music.
We got to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for coming on The Factor. Since Baby Bash, Carl Moore, attorney, Paul Wall. Thank you, guys.